The static crackled across the bridge of the UES Horizon, humanity's most advanced deep space exploration vessel. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the viewport, her dark eyes fixed on the unusual phenomenon that had caught their attention 3 hours ago. A cluster of ships, unlike anything humanity had encountered in their decades of space exploration. Energy signatures are unlike anything in our database, Captain. Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from his station, fingers dancing across the holographic interface. But they're barely holding together. Multiple hull breaches detected, and their power systems appear to be running on emergency protocols. The ships, if they could be called that, looked more like crystalline structures that had been torn apart and hastily reassembled. They drifted through space in a loose formation, their surfaces occasionally catching the light of distant stars and refracting it in mesmerizing patterns. Life signs? Chen asked, though she already knew the answer. They'd been monitoring the vessels since first detection. Confirmed, Mom. Thousands of them. But they're weak, and getting weaker by the hour. Chen had made first contact with 2 other species during her career, but something about this felt different. These weren't the usual diplomatic encounters or trade missions. This was a rescue situation, and humanity had never encountered a species in distress before. Open a channel, she ordered, straightening her uniform. All frequencies, universal translation matrix engaged. The communications officer nodded, and Chen cleared her throat. Unknown vessels, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earthship Horizon. We've detected that your ships are in distress. We are prepared to offer assistance. For several long moments, there was nothing but static. Then, a sound unlike anything they'd ever heard came through the speakers, a series of harmonic tones that somehow conveyed both desperation and hope. The universal translator struggled for a moment before converting it to words. "We are the Lissari," came the response, the translator rendering a melodic voice into English. We did not expect to find anyone in this sector. Our long-range sensors failed months ago." Chen noticed something in that voice. Exhaustion, yes, but also surprise. As if they hadn't expected anyone to answer their presence, let alone offer help. "Your ships appear to be critically damaged," Chen replied. "We have medical facilities and emergency repair capabilities. Allow us to assist." There was a pause, longer this time. When the response came, it carried a weight that made Chen's heart ache. "You would help us, without knowing what we are fleeing from. Without payment." The bridge crew exchanged glances. It was First Officer William Drake who spoke up, his voice carrying across the bridge. "Captain, regulations state we should consult with Earth Command before attempting large-scale rescue operations of unknown species." Chen nodded slowly. She knew the regulations. She had helped write some of them. But she also knew that by the time they got approval, many of the life signs they were detecting might wink out. "Send the data back to Command," she ordered. "But inform them that we are proceeding with emergency rescue operations under Article 7 of the Deep Space Humanitarian Code." She turned back to the communications. "Lissari vessels, prepare for emergency docking. We're sending you approach vectors now." The next 12 hours were a blur of activity. The Horizon's medical bay, designed to handle a crew of 500, was quickly overwhelmed by the arrival of the first Lissari refugees. The aliens were Bictal, but that's where their similarity to humans ended. Their bodies seemed to shift and flow like liquid crystal, their skin refracting light in ways that made them appear almost transparent at times. Dr. Maya Patel, the ship's chief medical officer, worked tirelessly to understand their physiology. "They're suffering from severe radiation exposure," she reported to Chen in a brief moment between treating patients. "But it's not from their damaged ships. Whatever they're running from, it affected their entire species on a genetic level." The Lissari themselves were initially hesitant to speak about what had driven them from their home. It was only after 3 days, when the last of their ships had been evacuated and their wounded were stabilizing, that their leader, First Speaker Cyrex, finally shared their story with Captain Chen. We were a peaceful species, Cyrex explained, their crystalline form shifting with emotion. We had mastered quantum mechanics in ways your scientists have only dreamed of. Our cities existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, allowing us to live in perfect harmony with the natural universe. Chen watched as Cyrex's form dimmed slightly. What she had learned was a sign of deep distress among their people. Then the wave came. A massive quantum disturbance that collapsed all possible states into one devastating reality. Our cities, our civilization, everything we had built was destroyed in an instant. Those of us who survived, we were changed. Our bodies can no longer maintain stable quantum states without constant effort. The implications hit Chen like a physical blow. The Lizari weren't just refugees. They were the survivors of a catastrophe that had fundamentally altered the laws of physics in their home region of space. They had been running for months, their bodies literally fighting against the new rules of reality itself. As Chen listened to Cyrex's story, she made a decision that would change the course of both their species. She didn't know it yet, but her choice to help the Lizari would set in motion events that would reshape humanity's place in the galaxy. "You're safe now," she said simply, knowing it wasn't nearly enough but needing to say it anyway. "We'll help you find a way to stabilize your people. Earth has some of the finest scientific minds in known space. Together, we'll figure this out." Cyrex's form brightened slightly. Hope Chen had learned to recognize. "You would do this, even knowing that helping us might draw the attention of whatever caused the wave." Chen smiled, a gesture she knew the Lizari had come to understand. That's what humans do. We help first and ask questions later. Sometimes it gets us in trouble, but more often than not, it leads to something extraordinary. As the Horizon set course for Earth, carrying its precious cargo of refugees, Chen couldn't help but wonder what challenges lay ahead. But looking at her crew working seamlessly alongside the Lizari, sharing knowledge and showing compassion without hesitation, she knew that whatever came next, humanity would face it with their new allies at their side. The emergency session of the United Earth Council wasn't going well. Captain Chen stood before the assembled representatives, her uniform crisp despite her exhaustion, as heated arguments echoed through the Grand Chamber in Geneva. "You brought them here without proper authorization," thundered Representative Kumar from the Indian coalition. "The quantum radiation they carry could destabilize our entire planetary defense grid." With all due respect, Chen responded, her voice steady. "We couldn't wait for authorization. The Lizari were dying, and our scientists have already confirmed that their quantum instability isn't contagious. It's confined to their own cellular structure." The chamber erupted in overlapping voices until Council President Maria Santos struck her gavel against the podium. The sharp crack silenced the room. "We have a more pressing concern," Santos announced, her weathered face grave. "We've received a transmission from the galactic hegemony." The chamber's main display flickered to life, showing the stern face of High Chancellor Vorkath of the hegemony. The alien's scaled features were arranged in what humans had learned to recognize as disapproval. "Earth government," the recorded message began, "it has come to our attention that you have provided sanctuary to survivors of the quantum collapse. This is inadvisable. The Lizari's condition poses a risk to local space-time stability. The hegemony strongly recommends their immediate relocation to designated quarantine zones." Dr. Maya Patel, who had been working with the Lizari since their rescue, stepped forward. "That's nonsense," she declared. "The Lizari's quantum instability is no more dangerous than a broken bone. Yes, they need help to heal, but they're not a threat to anyone." In the 3 weeks since the Horizon's return to Earth, Patel and her team had made remarkable progress understanding the Lizari's condition. Working alongside First Speaker Cyrex, they had developed temporary stabilization fields that helped ease the constant pain the aliens endured. "The hegemony's quarantine zones are death sentences," Chen added. "They're isolated pockets of space with minimal resources. Sending the Lizari there would be condemning them to a slow death." President Santos leaned forward. "Captain, Doctor, Your advocacy for the Lissari is noted, but we must consider Earth's position. We're still relatively new to the galactic community. The hegemony's trade routes are vital to our economy. A new voice cut through the tension. Professor James Zhang, Earth's leading quantum physicist. Madam President, if I may, the Lissari's understanding of quantum mechanics is centuries ahead of ours. In the brief time they've been here, they've already helped us identify 3 fundamental flaws in our quantum communication network. Working together, we could advance human science by decades. The council chamber buzzed with whispers. Economic advancement was something every representative understood. But it was Representative Carmen Rodriguez who asked the question everyone was thinking. And what happens when whatever caused the quantum collapse follows them here? First speaker Cyrex, who had been silently observing from a specially designed observation chamber, requested permission to speak. Their crystalline form shimmered with anxiety, but their translated voice was clear and strong. "We understand your fears," they began. "Our own civilization was far more advanced than yours when the wave struck. We had no defense against it. But that is precisely why we believe we can help each other. You have shown us something we had forgotten. The power of adaptation, of facing the unknown with courage rather than fear. Together, we might find ways to protect both our species." The chamber fell silent. Chen watched as the representatives exchanged glances, saw the subtle shift in their body language. She'd commanded enough first contact situations to recognize the moment when fear began to give way to curiosity. President Santos called for a vote. The debate raged for hours, but in the end, humanity made its choice. Earth would not only continue to shelter the Lissari, but would actively work to help them heal and rebuild. The consequences came swiftly. The hegemony imposed trade restrictions. Several alien species severed diplomatic relations. Earth's nascent position in galactic politics became precarious overnight. But something unexpected happened as well. As news of Earth's decision spread, other species began reaching out quietly. Through unofficial channels, it seemed humanity wasn't the only civilization that disagreed with the hegemony's harsh policies. In the months that followed, the Lissari proved themselves to be more than refugees. Their knowledge of quantum mechanics revolutionized human technology. They helped develop new medical techniques, improved space travel efficiency, and strengthened Earth's defense systems. More importantly, they brought a new perspective to human science. The Lissari's ability to perceive multiple quantum states simultaneously led to breakthroughs in physics that human scientists had struggled with for centuries. Captain Chen, watching a group of human and Lissari children playing in one of the new quantum-stabilized parks in Geneva, reflected on how far they'd come. The children had none of the fears or prejudices of their elders. To them, the shimmering, crystalline forms of their Lissari friends were simply another kind of person. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Dr. Patel said, joining her at the observation window. "We've had to redesign half our infrastructure to accommodate their quantum resonance, but look at what we've gained." Chen nodded. The park used Lissari quantum technology to exist in multiple states simultaneously, allowing both species to play comfortably despite their different physical needs. It was just one of countless innovations born from their cooperation. "The hegemony doesn't understand," Chen replied. "They see everything in terms of risk and reward, cost and benefit. They don't understand that sometimes doing the right thing leads to rewards you could never have calculated." As if to emphasize her point, a human child's laughter mixed with the melodic tones of Lissari joy, creating a harmony that echoed through the quantum-stabilized air. It was a sound of hope, of futures neither species could have imagined alone. The research complex Alpha in the heart of the Atacama Desert hummed with activity, its quantum-stabilized chambers housing the most ambitious joint scientific project in human history. Dr. Elena Santos, daughter of former Council President Maria Santos, stood in the central observation dome, watching as human and Lissari scientists worked in perfect synchronization. "It's ready for another test," announced Dr. Kai Chen, his excitement barely contained. The young physicist, no relation to Captain Chen, but equally dedicated to the Human-Lysari Alliance, had been working for months on what they called the Quantum Bridge Project. First Speaker Cyrex's successor, Navigator Lyra, shifted their crystalline form in what Elena had learned to recognize as anticipation. The quantum harmonics are perfectly aligned this time, they said, their translated voice carrying a musical undertone. We believe we finally found the correct resonance frequency. The project they were working on would have seemed impossible just a year ago. A way to stabilize the Lysari's quantum state permanently while simultaneously advancing human understanding of quantum mechanics by centuries. But it was more than that. If successful, it would revolutionize everything from space travel to energy production. Beginning quantum field generation, Kai announced, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface that had been redesigned to accommodate both human and Lysari users. The air in the chamber began to shimmer with possibilities. Literally, thanks to the Lysari's influence, humans were beginning to perceive quantum states in ways they never could before. The test chamber filled with a soft, iridescent light as multiple quantum states coalesced into a stable field. Navigator Lyra stepped forward, their crystalline form refracting the light in complex patterns. For a moment, everyone held their breath. Quantum stability at 97%, Elena reported, watching the readings. That's the highest we've ever achieved. She turned to Lyra. How does it feel? The Lysari leader's form brightened considerably, their equivalent of a broad smile. It's remarkable. For the first time since the wave, I feel whole. The quantum states aren't fighting against each other anymore. They're in harmony. The breakthrough wasn't just scientific, it was deeply personal for everyone involved. The Lysari had shared their advanced understanding of quantum mechanics, while humans had contributed their practical engineering skills and innovative problem-solving approaches. Together, they had achieved something neither species could have managed alone. But the implications went far beyond helping the Lysari. The stable quantum field they had created opened up entirely new possibilities. Early tests showed it could be used to improve spacecraft engines, making them dramatically more efficient. It had applications in medicine, communications, and energy production. We should contact the orbital facility, Kai suggested. They'll want to begin adapting this for the defense grid immediately. The Orbital Quantum Defense Grid had been another joint project, combining Lysari quantum technology with human military strategy to create a protective shield around Earth. Elena nodded, but before she could respond, a junior researcher burst into the observation dome. Dr. Santos, we're picking up something strange on the long-range quantum sensors. The quantum sensors, another hybrid technology, could detect disturbances in space-time far beyond the range of conventional instruments. Elena rushed to the monitoring station, Lyra flowing gracefully beside her. The display showed a massive quantum disturbance moving through space, unlike anything they'd seen before. But to the Lysari, it was horrifyingly familiar. It's similar to the wave, Lyra said, their form dimming with concern. Not identical, but the quantum signature is remarkably close. But this seems artificial. Elena's mind raced. You mean someone created this? But who would have that kind of technology? The hegemony, Kai said quietly. They've been gathering quantum technology from across the galaxy for centuries. What if they didn't just want to quarantine the Lysari? What if they wanted to study what happened to them? The implications were staggering. If the hegemony had somehow replicated the quantum effect that had devastated the Lysari civilization, they had created a weapon of unimaginable power. But looking at the stable quantum field they had just created, Elena felt a surge of hope. Maybe that's why they were so afraid of us working together, she said. They knew that combining Lysari quantum knowledge with human innovation might lead to a defense against their weapon. Navigator Lyra's form pulsed with determination. Then we must work faster. Our peoples have achieved so much together already. Perhaps this is why we found each other, not just for our survival, but for everyone's protection. The research complex erupted into renewed activity. Human and Lissari scientists worked with even greater urgency, knowing that what they were developing might be the only defense against a threat to both their species. Elena watched as Kai and Lyra began adapting their breakthrough to larger applications. The quantum field they had created wasn't just a medical treatment for the Lissari anymore. It was the foundation of a shield that could protect against quantum-based weapons. "We'll need to modify the orbital defense grid," Kai said, already running calculations. "The power requirements will be enormous, but if we can combine our new quantum field technology with the existing grid, it can be done," Lyra assured them. "The quantum harmonics we've achieved here can be scaled up. It will require precise calibration, but together, we can make it work." As Elena coordinated the efforts, she couldn't help but smile at the sight of humans and Lissari working as one. The hegemony had fought to keep them apart, fearing what they might achieve together. Instead, they had driven them to create something revolutionary, not just technology, but a true partnership between species. The quantum field hummed softly in the background, a testament to what could be achieved when different peoples chose to help each other rather than live in fear. Whatever the hegemony was planning, they would face not just one species, but two, united in purpose and strengthened by their differences. The diplomatic chamber aboard the galactic hegemony's massive space station, the Nexus, buzzed with tension. Ambassador Julia Martinez, Earth's representative, stood her ground as accusations flew from various alien delegates. The hegemony had called an emergency session of the Galactic Council, officially to address disturbing developments in the Sol system. High Chancellor Vorkath's scaled features twisted into what humans had learned to recognize as a sneer. "The evidence is clear. Earth has not only harbored quantum-corrupted refugees, but has actively worked to enhance their technological capabilities. This represents a clear threat to galactic stability." Martinez remained calm, though inside she seethed at the term quantum corrupted. 6 months of working with the Lissari had taught humanity just how wrong the hegemony's propaganda was. "We are conducting peaceful research," she stated firmly. "The Lissari are not a threat. They are refugees who have much to teach us all about quantum mechanics and peaceful coexistence." Peaceful. A representative from the Krex Confederation barked out a harsh laugh. "Your quantum emissions have increased tenfold in the past month alone. Our sensors detect massive power signatures consistent with weapons development." What Martinez couldn't tell them was that those power signatures were from testing the new quantum shield technology. The joint human-Lissari research team had made incredible progress, but they needed to keep that secret, especially now that they knew the hegemony might have weaponized the wave technology. "The humans have always been reckless," declared Ambassador Xin of the Trell Collective, their tentacles writhing in apparent agitation. First their rapid expansion into space, then their unconventional alliances, and now this quantum experimentation. They must be contained before they destabilize the entire sector. But then something unexpected happened. The representative from the Solarian Republic, a species known for their strict neutrality, raised their luminescent appendage. "Perhaps," they said softly, "we should consider that the humans' approach, while unconventional, has merit. Our own scientists have reviewed the data from Earth's public research papers. The advances they've made in quantum stability could benefit many worlds." A murmur ran through the chamber. The Solarians were respected for their scientific achievements. Their support, however tentative, was significant. They weren't alone. The Arcadian delegation, another technologically advanced species, spoke up as well. "We have been monitoring the situation closely," their representative announced. "The human-Lissari cooperation has produced remarkable results. Their quantum stabilization technology could help countless species affected by similar quantum anomalies across the galaxy." High Chancellor Vorkath's scales darkened, a sign of anger. "You are all missing the larger threat. These experiments could attract the attention of whatever caused the wave in the first place. The quarantine protocols exist for a reason." Martinez saw her opening. "And yet, Chancellor, Our research suggests the wave wasn't a natural phenomenon at all. Our scientists have detected artificial signatures in the quantum disturbances. She watched Vorkaf carefully as she spoke, noting the subtle shift in his posture. The chamber erupted in chaos. Species that had remained neutral suddenly began demanding investigations. The hegemony's authority, unquestioned for centuries, was beginning to crack. Back on Earth, Captain Sarah Chen, now Admiral Chen, received the encrypted transmission from Ambassador Martins with a grim smile. "It's happening just as we predicted," she told her assembled staff. The hegemony's control was always based on fear and misinformation. Once other species saw what could be achieved through cooperation rather than isolation. "Admiral," her aide interrupted, "we're detecting multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel." "Hegemony signatures." Chen nodded, unsurprised. "They won't risk losing control. Not when they've worked so hard to keep species divided and dependent on them." She opened a channel to the Quantum Defense Grid Control Center. "Dr. Santos, is the shield ready?" "Ready enough," Elena's voice came back. "The Lissari have helped us optimize the harmonics. We can protect Earth and our orbital facilities, but maintaining the field will take enormous energy." "It will have to be enough," Chen replied, "because I don't think the hegemony is here to talk." The massive hegemony warships took up attack positions around Earth's orbital defense network. Their design was intimidating. All sharp angles and weapon ports, meant to inspire fear. But Earth wasn't defenseless. The orbital platforms, upgraded with Lissari quantum technology, hummed with power. On the surface, human and Lissari scientists worked together, monitoring the quantum fields that now protected their shared home. "They're charging weapons," reported Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez from his tactical station. "Energy signatures are unusual." "Admiral, these readings match what we detected in the wave remnants." Chen's jaw tightened, so the hegemony had weaponized the quantum effect that had devastated the Lissari. They meant to make an example of Earth, to show what happened to those who defied their authority. But they had miscalculated. They didn't understand that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their weapons or technology. It was in their ability to reach out to others, to forge genuine connections, and build trust where others saw only threats. As the hegemony fleet prepared to attack, more ships began appearing. But not all of them were hostile. The Solarian Republic's research vessels dropped out of FTL, followed by Arcadian defensive platforms. Other species, inspired by humanity's example, had chosen to stand with Earth. The galaxy was changing. The old order, built on fear and isolation, was giving way to something new, something built on cooperation, trust, and the simple truth that different species could achieve more together than they ever could alone. Chen opened a channel to all ships, friend and foe alike. "This is Admiral Chen of Earth Defense Command. We stand ready to defend ourselves, but we also extend an offer of peace. What happens next will determine not just Earth's fate, but the future of galactic society. Choose wisely." The space around Earth blazed with quantum energy as the hegemony fleet launched their first attack. The weaponized wave technology rippled through space-time, distorting reality itself as it approached Earth's defensive perimeter. But humanity and their allies were ready. Quantum shields holding at 87%. Elena Santos reported from the Defense Control Center. Beside her, Navigator Lyra's crystalline form pulsed with concentrated effort as they helped maintain the quantum harmonics. The Lissari modifications are working perfectly. Admiral Chen watched from the bridge of the UES horizon as the hegemony's quantum weapon dissipated against Earth's shields. The enemy had expected to recreate the devastation that had destroyed the Lissari homeworld. Instead, they found themselves facing technology that had evolved beyond their understanding. Multiple hegemony vessels moving to flanking positions, Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez reported. They're preparing for another attack. But before the hegemony could strike again, new signatures appeared on the tactical display. Ships from the Solarian Republic and the Arcadian Alliance dropped out of FTL travel. taking up defensive positions alongside Earth's fleet. They were followed by vessels from a dozen other species, many of whom had never before taken direct action against the hegemony. High Chancellor Vorkath's face appeared on the main screen, his scales dark with rage. "This is your last warning, humans. Surrender the Lissari and dismantle your quantum research facilities, or we will be forced to take more dramatic action." Chen smiled. "You still don't understand, do you, Chancellor? This isn't about the Lissari anymore. This is about the kind of galaxy we want to live in. One ruled by fear and isolation, or one where different species can work together, learn from each other, grow together." "Naive sentiments," Vorkath snarled. "The galaxy needs order, structure, control. Your chaos will doom us all." "No," a new voice cut in. The Solarian representative's image appeared alongside Vorkath's. "The humans have shown us a better way. We've analyzed their quantum shield technology. It's not just a defense against your weapons. It's a breakthrough in stable quantum mechanics that could benefit countless worlds. The hegemony has kept us divided for centuries," the Arcadian commander added. "While you hoarded technology and knowledge, Earth shared their discoveries freely. They proved that cooperation makes us stronger, not weaker." Vorkath's response was to order his fleet to attack. But this time, they faced not just Earth's defenses, but a coalition of species united in purpose. The battle that followed would be remembered for generations as the moment the galaxy changed forever. The hegemony's quantum weapons were powerful, but they couldn't break through the combined shields of Earth and its allies. Each attack was met with a coordinated defense that grew stronger as more species joined the coalition, sharing their unique technologies and strategies. In the Defense Control Center, Elena and Lyra worked with scientists from a dozen worlds, fine-tuning the quantum shields in real time. The Lissari's understanding of quantum states, combined with human innovation and contributions from other species, created defenses that adapted and evolved with each attack. "They're targeting the orbital platforms," Rodriguez called out as several hegemony ships broke formation. "Redirect power to the secondary shield grid," Chen ordered. But before the hegemony ships could strike, a fleet of small, incredibly fast vessels appeared between them and their target. The Nyx Collective, a species known for their advanced stealth technology, had joined the battle. "The hegemony forgot something important," the Nyx commander transmitted. "They forgot that every species they oppressed, every world they threatened, every civilization they tried to keep isolated, we were all watching, learning, waiting for a chance to stand together." The tide of battle turned. The hegemony's fleet, faced with unified opposition from species they had long dominated, began to break formation. Some ships surrendered, their crews refusing to fight against the very unity they had secretly yearned for. Others retreated, realizing that their weapons of fear no longer held power. High Chancellor Vorkath made one final desperate attempt to use the wave weapon at full power. But as the massive quantum disturbance approached Earth, something remarkable happened. The combined shields didn't just block the attack, they reversed it, using the hegemony's own energy against them. "It's over, Chancellor," Chen declared as the hegemony flagship's weapons went dark. "Your way of doing things, of keeping species afraid and divided, it ends today." In the aftermath of the battle, as representatives from dozens of species gathered on Earth to discuss the future, the true victory became clear. It wasn't just about defeating the hegemony. It was about proving that different species could work together, trust each other, and build something greater than they could achieve alone. The Lissari, once refugees fleeing destruction, had found not just a new home but a new purpose. Their quantum technology, combined with human innovation and contributions from other species, would help rebuild worlds damaged by the hegemony's weapons. The wave that had nearly destroyed them had led to discoveries that would benefit all of galactic society. Captain Sarah Chen, now promoted to Fleet Admiral, stood in the same Geneva chamber where Earth had first decided to help the Lissari. But now she stood with representatives from across the galaxy, planning a new future together. We made the right choice, she told Dr. Elena Santos and navigator Lyra as they watched the proceedings. When we decided to help instead of hide, to reach out instead of pull back. Lyra's crystalline form shimmered with joy. Humans taught us something we had forgotten in our fear and pain. You showed us that true strength comes not from power or technology, but from the courage to trust, to help others even when it seems dangerous. Elena smiled, watching as human children played with young ones from a dozen different species in the quantum-stabilized parks that now dotted Earth's cities. We all learned something. The hegemony thought that keeping species separate made them stronger. But look at what we've achieved together in just a few years. The galaxy was entering a new era. The hegemony's fall had opened the way for a different kind of civilization, one built on cooperation, mutual respect, and the understanding that diversity made them stronger, not weaker. It had all started with a simple choice: to help those in need, to reach out instead of turning away. As the sun set on Earth, its light refracting through the quantum-stabilized atmosphere in beautiful patterns, humans and aliens alike looked to the stars with new hope. They had proved that fear and isolation could be overcome, that different species could work together to create something greater than the sum of its parts. The future was uncertain, but they would face it together, stronger for their differences, united in their desire to build a better galaxy for all. It was humanity's gift to the stars, the simple, powerful idea that compassion and cooperation could overcome any obstacle, and that in helping others, we often find our own greatest strength.